So my name is Bradley Metrock. I'm CEO of Project Voice. It is the top of the hour. We'll go ahead and get this thing rolling. We are very pleased to be joined by the team at Sensory, who's got a really exciting development platform evolution to show you. And so we're grateful for you taking the time and sharing it with us. Todd, I'm going to yield the floor to you if you don't mind introducing your team, and at the same time, Anu, I will make you host so you can prepare the slides.
Thanks, Bradley, and thanks everybody for attending today. So we'll spend about 45 minutes and we'll get you out of here pretty quickly. In terms of what we got planned for today, I'll be going over just a quick backgrounder on Sensory, telling you a little bit about who we are and what our product line is. And then I'll hand the floor over to Brian McGrain, who will introduce the Sensory Cloud. He'll talk about, let's see what we have popping up, SensoryCloud.AI. Can we advance the slide? Great, so I'm gonna do the intro in Sensory Cloud. Brian McGrain will talk about cloud security and architecture. Jeff's gonna give you a lot of live demos, so we'll show you some of our technologies, not all of our technologies, but we'll give you a good look at some of the things we're doing in the cloud and some of the hybrid things we're doing as well. And then Anu is going to talk about our cloud performance and share with you some of the accuracy metrics that we've measured. And we'll wrap up with Bradley leading us in Q&A. So Sensory is a profitable, privately held software company. We're really pioneers in edge-based neural net, AI, and voice technologies. We've been doing, believe it or not, we've been doing neural nets for 27 years on chips and on device. We've shipped in many billions of products all over the world in over 25 different languages. And our technology suite is quite broad. We have speech recognition and NLU technologies like wake words, command and control. We've got speech to text. We've got lots of different biometric technologies. We can do face, we can do voice biometrics, and we have really good liveness technology. So we know whether it's a real person or whether it's a fake. And I think Jeff will actually demo some of these things. Then we've got text to speech technologies. We've got both large models that run in the cloud, and we probably have the tiniest models that run on device in the world. We've actually shipped in millions of products with little TTS that takes hundreds of kilobytes, if you can believe that. And then we'll talk about a little bit about our sound ID. Actually, I don't think we'll demonstrate that today, but we have really good sound identification technology, and the cloud can be used to make that even better. So who uses Sensory? Well, the answer is a lot of companies have used us for a long time. We have over 250 licensees all over the world. Pretty much every trillion-dollar tech company has worked with Sensory on a product that's actually gone to market. And our markets are pretty broad. We focus mostly on consumer electronics, at least historically, and we delve into automotive and fintech and medical and IoT, wearables, and mobile phones. We've been quite strong, and appliances. So let me briefly walk you through the product line. We brand our products the Truly products. So we have Truly hands-free. That does wake words, the best wake words in the world, that have shipped in more products than any other wake word company in the world. Truly hands-free has both voice control for wake words as well as small command and control sets. It's very, very noise resilient technology. And it's small vocabulary and really tiny and really, really low power. It can run not only embedded at an OS level, but what we would call deeply embedded at a deeper level for lower power consumption. We have Truly Natural, which is a large vocabulary continuous speech recognition engine that runs on device as well. And it can do, tens, hundreds of thousands of words with NLU. So pretty sophisticated grammar-based solution where we can build statistical language models as well. Then we have the Truly Secure line, which includes Face ID and Voice ID that I mentioned earlier, and the Sound ID as well. And it all comes together with VoiceHub. VoiceHub is a web-based tool that allows our customers to create their own vocabularies, their own products. So we use a synthetic data approach for doing that, and it works really, really well. And now introducing Sensory Cloud. So as mentioned, we've been on device for many, many years, and now we're introducing the Sensory Cloud. So the question we keep getting asked is, why are we moving to the cloud when most companies are moving to the edge? It seems like the trend today is to go on device for privacy and a lot of other advantages. But we see a future where hybrid solutions will be prevalent, and we needed the cloud to introduce the hybrid solutions. The cloud gives us brings some of the cloud advantages to the edge and some of the edge advantages to the cloud as we do these hybrid implementations. So for things like privacy, we have a really great play where we can do private on device or private in the cloud with some proprietary and unique approaches. We have a lot of flexibility in terms of where we put different components of our engines. We can make things lower cost or lower power consumption. We can do on-prem deployments. There's a lot of flexibility as we introduce these hybrid types of solutions. Then there's advantages in security and speed and accuracy as well. And we'll actually talk about all three of those today. So let me hand the floor over to Brian to talk about cloud architecture and security.
Thank you very much, Todd. So as Todd mentioned, I'm the lead cloud architect here at Sensory, and I come from a medical and security background. I've been working in that space for about 8 years. And when Sensory approached me, I was really excited about the opportunity because I was able to take all of Sensory's amazing technology and move that into a cloud API. So in the next couple of slides here, I'm going to talk a little bit about the architecture, though I could probably go on for days, if not weeks, on this architecture. So keep in mind, it's a little bit high level. When it comes to making what I say is a good cloud, which I put in quotes because I don't have a better word for it, you have these 4 pillars, which I would say are high security, which means nobody can get access to our cloud or try to trick our cloud into revealing customer information or spoofing faces or spoofing voices. Low latency, which means essentially when you send up audio or video images to our cloud, we respond as quickly as possible. High availability, which means that when you call, we always answer. And then high quality, which means that the results are accurate. And fortunately, that is all handled by the amazing data science team at Sensory. But I got to tackle the very first 3 items as a part of my cloud architecture. So Sensory Cloud consists of 4 key components. We offer SDKs in 6 primary languages, and we're adding SDKs every day. We also have the inference server, which we recommend customers deploy themselves. This inference server, we've worked very closely with NVIDIA to develop, and it runs the NVIDIA Triton backend, which allows us to batch requests to the GPU and use a GPU extraordinarily efficiently for processing images and audio. We then have a security server that is the central source for OAuth security, and I'll get into a little bit of security in the next slide. But it also handles customer license management, and it serves models to our customers. So if we make improvements to, for instance, our speech to text model, we can publish those improvements and customers can be made available to those models within 5 minutes. So we're able to deploy models extremely efficiently through the use of Triton and our security server combined. Finally, we use Postgres, and since our customers are deploying our inference servers, that's a key differentiator for us is we want our customers to own all of the personally identifiable information, if any, that is stored. So our customers would deploy Postgres as a part of the inference server deployment. So moving into security, I like to look at security as layers like an onion, and it all starts at the application level. We employ a web application firewall, which is able to protect against things like denial of service attacks or SQL injections before it even hits our product. And so we use a web application firewall to handle that. In terms of network security, we like to have key layers of our network where internet traffic can only enter at the load balancer in a public layer. And then we have our application segregated down to a non-public layer. And below that is even a 3rd network layer to handle the data storage. At the API level, we implement OAuth 2 security, but we have layers on top of OAuth that ensure that our secret key for signage is protected. And we actually rotate these OAuth keys extraordinarily often in order to ensure that if any of those keys were to be leaked, which are never stored on disk, they're all in memory, we would be completely fine in terms of that key not being valid for a very long amount of time. Finally, our key differentiator with Sensory Cloud is that customers can deploy these inference servers, and we absolutely encourage it. What that means is your cloud is the one that's making the decisions on if this is the user's face, or if this is the user's voice, or even transcribing audio into text. We want to make sure that you have the control over your data, and Sensory doesn't want to see any of it. And so that's where we really differentiate ourselves, is we give the customers the control over their data. Now, just to talk a little bit about latency techniques, we use a whole lot of techniques in order to ensure that our servers are fast. But there are a lot of things that happen before the server too that can also contribute to latency. For instance, if you're on a really slow network, or if you are extremely far away from where your server is. And so Sensory Cloud actually uses some network acceleration techniques that are provided to us by Amazon. And we're also distributed geographically across multiple regions in order to ensure that you have a server that is as close to you as possible. But when I was approached by Sensory to create this cloud, they said, okay, we want to be able to process wake words, but we also want to be able to do face authentication, and we want to do speech to text and text to speech. And it became this extremely complex problem, but really at the end of the day, the problem is the same for all of these technologies. We need to shuffle data up to the server in a streaming fashion. We need to be able to perform inference on that data, and then we need to be able to stream results back. And so we decided as a team to take a look at bleeding edge technologies. And in this case, WebSockets could have been the answer, but we decided to go with gRPC, which leverages HTTP2 to handle completely bidirectional asynchronous communication between the client and the server. And this has proven to be extraordinarily efficient. And so our response time is orders of magnitude better than we could have hoped for with WebSockets. Finally, that model inference part that I mentioned, that's right in the middle of that, we are able to shuffle that data into a GPU and perform inference on that through sophisticated techniques using Go, which is the core language of our server. That is a very high performance language, and we can write Go code very quickly as a team. But also the way that NVIDIA technologies work on the GPU side is we can take multiple requests, batch them on the GPU, get multiple responses back, and use the GPU more efficiently than we would have with other technologies. Finally, on my next slide, please. Finally, Sensory Cloud, as I mentioned, is highly available. What that means essentially is when you call, we always answer. And now a lot of people might say that's the case for them, but do they really mean do they understand what highly available means? For us, we are distributed across multiple geographies. So that means that if the entire West Coast were to lose power, we would still be able to route traffic over to the East Coast of the United States. We are adaptive in the way that we route traffic to our servers. But even within those geographic regions, we are deployed across multiple availability zones. And so that ensures that even if a whole region doesn't fail, but an AZ fails, we still are able to support our customers. And it comes down to being able to, one, have redundancies of all of your core components, but also being able to determine when one of those components has failed. And if that component has failed, route healthy traffic to a healthy server that can handle that. So that is pretty much all of the architecture in about a 6-minute presentation. I could go on for weeks, but that is essentially how we have taken this, I would say, extremely complex technology and made it work in a cloud setting. So very excited, and it's been a wonderful process to work on this product. So I'm going to hand it over to Jeff Rogers, who's going to give you guys live demos and show you the fourth pillar of that 4-pillar good cloud, which is that our quality is really, really high. So thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Brian. Brian is a great technical guy, super smart, but he's also a heck of a sales guy. I love doing joint meetings with Brian. He's a lot of fun to work with. Appreciate
likewise
the detail on that, Brian. So just quick intro to myself. I'm Jeff Rogers, VP of Sales for Sensory, also a co-founder with Todd. When we started the company back in '94, we've actually morphed as a company a few times. We were actually Sensory Circuits, and we were running a complete neural net algorithm on these little 8-bit microcontrollers. And our goal was, let's do a chip that could do speech recognition and speech output. We did that very successfully. And then we morphed again and became, well, maybe we're more of a software IP company, and we became leaders in Bluetooth and mobile and now across a lot of different markets, as Todd mentioned. And now we're morphing again, where it's like, let's take advantage of the power of the cloud. And so the Sensory Cloud is yet another one of those morphs in our history. And we've we're going to take advantage of that and still have the on-device. So we really will have a complete hybrid solution. So I'm just trying to grab the screen here from Bradley as soon as I can, and then I'll show you some quick demos here. It says the host is disabled participant sharing. So I just need to wait for that to come in. And so what I'm going to show you today are a couple different demos. I'll start with I'll focus primarily on our cloud. And I'm going to show you our biometrics that we can do in the cloud, both face and voice biometric. And the idea is that we can run a very light agent on device now, and then send the information, whether it's voice or face data, to the cloud where we do authentication. And that's a difference from where we've been in the past. Today we do a lot of on device, and where we provide an SDK and they do a complete install in that application. Everything runs on the app itself. But now having this hybrid solution, we can do some on device if we wanted to, or we could just have a very light client on device where it's kind of independent of the hardware, and then authenticate in the cloud. So let me share my screen here and show you a couple of quick demos. The other thing I need to do is I'm going to turn off my camera so that I can use the camera for my demos here. So this is our Sensory Cloud and site, and you can see that I've got the biometrics up right now. So let me do a new enrollment just to kind of show you the entire process. So I'm going to enroll both face and voice at the same time, and then I can use either or both combined together. So starting with face, you'll notice the first option here is liveness security. So this is basically liveness during enrollment and liveness during authentication. We want to make sure it's a real person enrolling, and we obviously want to make sure it's a real person authenticating. And there's a couple different options here. We can have liveness off or medium or high. I'll just leave it on medium for now. And then under voice recognition, we've got an active liveness technology or approach here. We're combining our speech recognition with our text independent speaker verification. So by combining those two together, if I just use text dependent or an enrolled voice password, then people could record my password. And if they had a good recording of me, they might break in. What we're doing here by combining the speech recognition with the text independent verification, it'll present me 6 digits, and it has to therefore be my voice speaking those digits, and the digits change every time. So text independent is a type of verification where it just knows it's my voice. It doesn't care so much what I'm saying, but combining it with our speech engine, now it says, okay, now you have to say these digits and it has to be your voice. So I'll just type in a description here. This will be my sensory demo. Hit next. And so what's going to happen is it'll first turn the camera on, and you'll see a circle around my face, and it'll do the quick enrollment, and it's checking both liveness as well as doing enrollment at the same time. Then it's going to pop up 6 digits, and I'll speak those digits. We need about 8 or 10 seconds of audio to enroll a voice. So you'll see all that happen here. So now it's doing my face enrollment. You can see that the liveness is detected. 159415, 527422, 109734, 362820. So now enrollment's completely done. Now the beauty of our cloud solution is you'll notice there's a bunch of other enrollments here as well. So as an example, I actually attended live CES this year. It was nice to be back. And so this one here, as an example, in the Lux Cafe, that was in the Lux Cafe, and I was actually back kind of in a dark corner, and I enrolled using my mobile phone. But now I'm on my PC. Doesn't matter. I can still use those things. So as an example, if I want to authenticate using this one here, so again, this was on my mobile phone, kind of in dark area. You saw, I don't know if you saw it because it happened so fast. It matched the face, and it detected liveness really, really quick. And a lot of that is kind of twofold. One, because of the technology, and two, as Brian was talking about, the architecture and moving things around very quickly in the cloud. So let me go down to the one I just did, which is the sensory demo here. So this is face and voice. I actually have 2 of them here. This is probably my most recent one. And so I can do face only, which you just saw, or I can do voice only. 476176. And it says, yep, that was me. It was me saying those digits. Now, what happens if I say the wrong digits? 425877. So I have to say the right digits. Otherwise, it's going to say, nope, that was not the right digit. So again, if somebody had a recording of me, they're not going to get in because it has to actually be my voice saying those correct digits, and the digits change every single time. Or I can combine these two together. So I can do face and voice at the same time. So if we want really high security, get this multimodal biometric going on. Now it's very, very difficult to spoof this. 332606. And you notice how quickly the face and the liveness was detected. And then as I read through those digits, it said, yep, that's actually me. Now, what happens if I've got, as an example, my daughter loves this one right here. So this is the fake me. And I'm saying, okay, here I am. And you'll notice there's no face match, there's no liveness detected, and it just times out. And then of course, if I do the real me, look how fast that is. So again, the beauty of this is we can have a very light agent on device. I just basically have a trigger that goes to the cloud. We talked, Brian was talking about security and privacy. So in the case of our face or voice, once we capture it on device, everything's encrypted, sent to the cloud where it's decrypted, authenticated, and then tossed away. So there's not a concern of videos or pictures going around or people seeing things or hearing things that they shouldn't see. It's a very secure system. And as I mentioned, we can also combine. So we could run the voice as an example on device and then send the face to the cloud. So there's different options that we can provide or combinations using this technology. So this is all part of our SensoryCloud biometric, face and voice. All right, so let me jump over to speech to text. So this is our speech to text engine. This is very exciting for us because in the past, when customers would say, hey, yeah, I need a wake word on device, I need a natural language grammar on device, we'd say, great, we got that. Truly hands-free, truly natural, no problem. And then customers say, well, we also need dictation, or we need transcription, or we need something that's more open than domain specific on device. And until this year, we would say, well, then yeah, you can send that to the cloud. And then that was kind of the end of it. Now we have this capability ourselves. So it's very exciting. We're talking with new industries and new customers that we never were able to in the past. So this is our speech to text. And you can see right now that we've got 4 languages supported. I'll stick with English because that's going to work best for me. And we continue to add languages. Now that we have the recipe for adding these languages, we'll continue to build this out. Today with our Truly Hands-Free, we support more than 24 languages. With Truly Natural, more than a dozen languages. And this will obviously follow. So here, I just start transcribing and then I say what I want to say. For example, don't forget to take the car in for maintenance on Saturday. So just kind of random stuff, recognizes it very quickly. It's typing out as I'm speaking. This is a great speech to text demonstration. I can just talk and it will transcribe what I'm saying. I love this. Schedule a meeting with Jeff Rogers next Tuesday after 4 p.m. And then something a little bit more, a little bit longer. During my conversation, this can keep track of everything that I'm saying, such that after the meeting, I can get a transcript of what was said. Super fast, super accurate. Anu is going to talk about accuracy. While I was at CES and giving a lot of demos on the show floor, which is not a quiet, it was quieter this year, obviously, but not a quiet environment. Across all the demos that I did, our cloud team took a look at everything that I did and came back and said, hey, Jeff, you were getting between a 5 and 6% word error rate, which is state of the art. I mean, that's amazing. And I was doing that on my mobile phone, and I was doing it again, kind of, on the show floor in what I'd call a real world environment. So 2 other quick demos that were just added literally this week, just for this webinar, which is super cool, is our wake word technology. And so here, the idea is that we can run a small wake word on device, and then we can authenticate or confirm the wake word on device, and then we can send that audio to the cloud where we run a cloud model, which is a much more complex model that's taking advantage of the cloud architecture. And the idea then is that you can have a wake word on device that has a looser setting, and then the cloud corrects it. And this is the same thing that Amazon and Google are doing. But now we can do that ourselves, and we can do that with custom wake words. So instead of forcing people to say, Alexa, ask this product to do this thing here, which is a mouthful, we say, no, skip the whole thing. Just go direct, say the name of the product, build your brand, protect your brand, and then you still have the authentication or the revalidation in the cloud. And then, of course, you can combine that with the speech to text that I just demonstrated. So here, as an example, as I'm talking, you can see the audio bouncing along. And then this is the wake word right here. So once I say open sesame, then you'll see that it'll mark in that, in that audio stream where the wake word came in. So I think it's a pretty cool demonstration, kind of showing, okay, this is where the wake word came in. And then obviously it could be, using that cloud model to revalidate. And then the other technology that was just added is our Sound ID. So Sound ID, we've got a couple models in here right now. We're going to add more that we already support. So this is the health one where we're listening for coughs and sneezes and snores. This has been really interesting to a lot of customers just because of where we've been health-wise in the world. And then here's our home one. So it's listening for alarm clocks and baby cry and cat meowing, dog bark, doorbell, door knock, water running. So as I start this again, you can see the audio going. And then if I hear a door knock, it's going to highlight that door knock right where it happened. And so again, Sound ID is a similar thing as the wake word. We run a model on device, and then we can revalidate in the cloud. So this is all part of our new Sensory Cloud. I've got probably just a few more minutes, and I wanted to just show you a quick example of our VoiceHub product, which is all about our on-device technology. So if I move this screen over here a little bit, this is my, I'm just screen sharing my mobile phone over here. And so VoiceHub, the way VoiceHub works, and this is, so I'm switching gears to our on-device technology just really quick, just to kind of show you a couple quick things here. VoiceHub allows the developer, the company, you, to create your own custom wake words, your own custom phrase spotted command sets, and your own custom natural language grammars. So really quickly, here's an example of a project I call dishwasher commands. The idea is that I've got my dishwasher, I've got these little buttons, and I can't see the text on it because they're so small and my eyes are bad now as I've gotten older. Wouldn't voice be a lot easier? The answer is yes. So here in VoiceHub, I just name the project whatever I want. I select my language, and you can see that we have a lot of different languages already supported in VoiceHub. And so I'm going to stick with US English for this demo, obviously. Then I've already created a custom wake word, which is hey dishwasher. So I've loaded that into the project. I picked the size that I want. So you can see this is an acoustic model size, very, very small, 147 KB. And then I choose the output format. So I can just default to our standard SDKs, or you can see that we have a lot of our chip partners and different chip cores here that are supported. So if I were running on ST as an example, or Qualcomm or DSPG or any of these different chip partners, they're supported in here. And as I build the project, it's automatically formatted to support that. So then I come to the command set area and I just type in the commands that I want. These are just straight off my dishwasher. Then I build the application, and building a set like this in VoiceHub is going to take probably 5 or 6 hours because it's building you'll see why in a minute, it's building out a phrase spotted model that works and performs extremely well. And the nice thing about VoiceHub is once your project's done, you'll get an email from VoiceHub saying it's done. So you don't have to sit and wait and watch for it or check in on it. It'll let you know. So then I build it, which it's already done. I can test it on device, or I can download that model and I can test it over here on my mobile phone, which is kind of nice, either Android or iOS. So I like to do that option. So I just click here. This is going to then give me this QR code. You'll see the total size of my project, including wake word, is 547 KB. So I've got a wake word in there. I've got that command set. The whole thing is 547 KB. So then over on my phone, I select scan QR code. And so I just scan that code. And then that's going to load the project into my mobile phone. And so now this project here is running over here. So now I can just say, hey, dishwasher, I want Pro Wash right now. So even though I said I want before I said Pro Wash and I said right now, it spots it out. And so that's again why it takes a little time to build, because it's building this kind of as a multi-word wake word set following this. And you'll notice that I can speak very naturally. Hey, dishwasher, give me the 4-hour delay. It just recognizes it, spots it out. So Very, very good performance, of course, very fast because it's all on device. The other example is an example of a large vocabulary project. This is our Truly Natural. So here I've created what I call my smart home demo. And same thing, I pick my language, I pick the size that I want. So in this case, I'm running on an application processor. So I'm going to use a 946 kbyte model. Same output. I'm using our Voice Genie wake word here. And again, I can create a custom wake word. And then with Truly Natural, I can also select the out of vocabulary rejection, either less rejecting or more rejecting. So again, the developer gets to choose kind of where that balance is. So just really quickly down here, you'll see that I can define my intents and my slots and my phrases. Intents are basically the intent of what I'm going to do. So you'll notice I've got several different intents: blind control, camera control, lighting control, security, temperature, TV control. And just by pushing the plus sign over here, I can add new intents. My slots are basically buckets of everything that I might say. And so I've got these different slots. And what I do is I come down to phrases and I start with, well, what's my intent? Okay, I want to change the temperature. So somebody might say something before, they might just, before 72 degrees or whatever. So here I've created an intro to temperature control, like change temperature to or set the temperature to. And every time you see the question mark, it means the preceding word or slot is optional. So I basically went through and did that for all of these temperature, blind control. So I've got intros to those things, and then I've got the slots. And then sometimes I might have lights afterwards, or as an example. So I do the same thing. I build it, which is done. With Truly Natural, we also have this coverage tab. So it auto generates a grammar of everything that I might say. So you can see that there are literally thousands and thousands of different options that are in here. But I like to go ahead and test it. So I download the model, same thing, and then using my mobile phone over here. So I click OK, and then I scan this QR code. So scan that, and that loads the demo in over here. So you can see some of the options over here. So now it's on and listening, and I can say things like, Voice Genie, set temperature to 72 degrees. And over here, you can see the recognition result. And you can also see the NLU. So it was temperature change, and the temperature that I asked it to change to. Voice Genie, turn on nightstand lights. So again, recognition and NLU. Voice Genie, close blinds 50%. This would be great. I don't have to go to the cloud for these kinds of things. These are fast. But if I want to say, as an example, send a message to Brian, then I go to our speech to text engine where I say, hey, Brian, this is Jeff. Great job on the webinar today. Man, you nailed it. I love the cloud architecture you've created. This is awesome stuff. And that's all going to be transcribed. Voice Genie, turn on living room lights. Voice Genie, I want to watch ESPN. So you can see just super fast and very natural. And again, this is part of our Truly Natural project or technology. So again, runs all on device. That's all the demos I have for today. Appreciate the interest, and I'll turn it over to Anu for some marketing information. And Anu, you're muted if you're talking.
Not quite talking yet. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we got you.
Excellent. So I'm Anu, and I'm responsible for marketing activities at Sensory and Sensory Cloud, which is super fun for me because I get to share all the reasons that Sensory and now that the new Sensory Cloud are so great. In addition to all the benefits that we've seen today, the initial testing that we've done shows that the Sensory Cloud also demonstrates improved performance in terms of accuracy. So far, we have results in 2 areas. And first, we'll start with the wake word revalidation, and then we'll go into speech to text. So let's start with the wake words. So almost every big name tech company utilizes or has utilized Truly Hands-Free, which is our embedded wake word that we've talked about before. And earlier testing shows that Truly Hands-Free outperforms published benchmarks in accuracy by more than 40% for embedded wake words. And although a lot of wake words live on the edge, our results show that cloud-based wake word revalidation can significantly improve on already great wake word performance. So SensoryCloud utilizes a novel approach to leveraging the cloud that improves accuracy without compromising privacy. And what we found was that enabling verification in the cloud is really a valuable technique for reducing false alarms. Let's define those false alarms just so we're on the same page. There are two types: false rejects, which occur when the device doesn't recognize the correct word, and false accepts, which occur when the device mistakenly hears the wake word. So we tested two models, each using hey, followed by 2 and 3 syllable words. The 3-syllable combined wake word was 1 megabyte, and the 4-syllable combined wake word was about 120 kilobytes. So with cloud revalidation, we first held the false reject rate constant at a pretty low rate of less than 10%. And in that scenario, cloud revalidation substantially reduced the false accept rate from a few false accepts per week to a few false accepts per month, which is just crazy. We subsequently held the false accept rate constant to reduce the false reject rate via cloud revalidation, and we found similar results, which is captured in this graphic. So what we also know is that cloud techniques can also be tuned to reduce both false accepts and false rejects simultaneously, which is really exciting. These initial results were impressive, and we hope that down the line we'll see the same sort of improvements in other SensoryCloud technologies that utilize revalidation, for example, Sound ID. So we've talked and you've seen the SensoryCloud speech to text. It utilizes an end-to-end architecture that's been designed to offer high flexibility and accuracy. To demonstrate the performance of our SensoryCloud speech to text, we actually hired a third party to perform a word error rate test, which is a measure of accuracy, and to compare our speech to text solution with other speech to text solution providers in the testing party system. So a little bit about the experimental design. Each engine was provided with hours of audio and text transcripts for the accuracy calculations. The audio was played back in 2 scenarios. The scenario that's shown here, which is relatively clearly spoken and free of background noise, we'll call that the quiet scenario, and the added noise scenario, which was used to create an SNR10, and we'll review that on the next slide. As you can see in this chart, the SensoryCloud.AI speech-to-text engine is already achieving best-in-class performance across well-known cloud service providers. So the same accuracy tests were shown, were performed when added noise files, which include TV, radio babble, and things like that, to create the SNR10. And Sensory continued to be near the top in terms of performance. There's only one company that outperformed SensoryCloud in this test, but this is before the addition of our new robust front ends, so we expect that within the quarter will be the most accurate in both scenarios, quiet and noise, which is super exciting. So that pretty much wraps up our introduction to the SensoryCloud. Please visit SensoryCloud.AI to sign up for the demos that you've seen and to contact us to find out more. And as Bradley mentioned, there will be a follow-up email where you can get a recording of this video, and that'll also include the links where you can contact us. And now I'm going to hand off to back to Bradley for your questions.
Anu, thank you very much. That was great. It was a great series of presentations by the team. And Todd, I know you got to be proud about the product, proud about what you put out there. We've got a question in the Q&A, and if you have questions for Todd or the team, please put them in the Q&A, and we'll get to them rapidly as we wind down here. But Todd, I want to start just by asking, what's been the biggest challenge in bringing Sensory Cloud to bear? What's been the biggest hurdle to overcome in getting to the point of doing this webinar where you can unveil this thing?
Sure, good question. So technology-wise, things were actually pretty straightforward and easy because we've been delving in these technologies for a long time. The real challenge for us was opening up a whole new environment of cloud computing. So bringing on board stars like Brian McGrain, which were really outside of our DNA. We built a whole team around the cloud architecture, and that was a challenge. It's an environment today where it's really hard to hire great people, and we like to hire great people. So, getting that team on board was the challenge.
Excellent. So I want to go to the Q&A where we've got a question related to one of the earlier demos, and it's from an anonymous attendee. Can I ask a negative? I don't want the Pro Wash, or I don't want this or that. Y'all want to take that one?
Yeah, I can respond to that one. So it's a great question. With truly hands-free, which was part of my dishwasher demo, it is phrase spotted. So it's listening for Pro Wash, and you could say things around it. So in that case, it would still respond because it heard Pro Wash. However, if you used our truly natural and built out that language model as I demonstrated, then you could certainly build into the intro things that you're listening for, which include I want or I don't want. And then if you say I don't want a Pro Wash, and as an example, then the NLU is going to say, oh, it's an I don't want, and then therefore it would ignore the Pro Wash following that. So all that could be handled within our truly natural. Yeah, that's a great question. Interesting one.
No, that's great. Todd, you had a slide, or there was a slide during the webinar about it was a lot of logos showing all of the different companies that work with y'all that have used one or more of your products. Who in your mind is who's gravitating to SensoryCloud.AI? What companies, maybe in what industry verticals are you seeing the highest uptake from, and what job positions are the ones that are typically making those decisions to move forward with Sensory as opposed to some other option?
Yeah, great question. So because of our roots are more in the consumer electronics space, we have a lot of customers in that space. We work with companies like Spotify and GoPro and just a whole lot of big brands that are out there. And we're not allowed to talk about products that haven't shipped before, but if you look at the list of our current customers, that's where we're getting the fastest traction. And a lot of them want our cloud services. It's happily surprising to me how many of our existing customers say, yeah, we like working with Sensory. We'd rather have one supplier for all these technologies rather than using you on device and somebody else in the cloud.
So another thing that you do is you've productized your voice and AI offerings. You had that slide with sort of the hub and spoke system around literally VoiceHub, and you've got all the different offerings. One of the challenges that we've seen in this space is keeping customers and partners up to date on new features and new evolutions of the products. When with stuff in the cloud or with stuff with voice, it's not a natural 1.1 1.2 step increases in a product iteration or something like that. How do y'all communicate as a company, as a team, with your clients and partners on all of the new things that you're adding on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis?
Well, great question. And there's a lot of different answers to it. So I'll let Anu answer the marketing side because we have a lot of marketing communications that go out. And Brian's already addressed one of the sides that we do in the cloud, which is that we can automatically produce updates.
Yeah, so in terms of when we have a significant update to our technology, we like to show it in action. So we do webinars with our platform partners. We will publish a press release, and we really try to, I love to sing our praises. So that's that's we'll announce it on social media. But one of the most, I think one of the best ways that we've been able to demonstrate what we're up to, or the latest and greatest, is via showing what we do through live webinars with our partners. And please stay tuned and check us out. We'll have some coming up next month, demonstrating the latest and greatest.
Anu has a great monthly email that goes out to all our customers with all the updates, and anybody can be on that list that wants to. So we welcome people to sign up.
So the last question here, it's from the Q&A. The model size is fixed, or can it be set at any number? Technical question.
Yeah, I can answer that one. So it can be set. So I can adjust the model size. I probably didn't go into that. For the on-device, for the truly hands-free, truly natural, you can select from under 80 KB to over a megabyte, both in wake words, and for truly natural, it can range even up to as much as 100 megabytes if you wanted to. So that is scalable. On the cloud side of things, you can also scale that. I guess on the wake word side you can. On the speech to text, I believe it's just that.
So I guess the last thing is, what is the best way for people who are watching the webinar now live, watching it later on playback, the best way to contact y'all, contact the team, and have a conversation about Sensory Cloud?
Jeff, now's the chance to plug your email.
Yeah, reach out to, there's a couple different ways you can do it. Number one, on our site, we've got our new SensoryCloud.AI site where you can check out demos. Put your name and contact information in there, and there's also a description thing where you can post a little comment or questions that you have there. On our Sensory, on our normal Sensory site, you can request an access to VoiceHub. VoiceHub's a free tool. There's more than 800 developers and companies that have access to it now that are using it. So in there, you can request access. Access is typically granted within the same day. And in there, we've got a lot of customers who are saying, who give us a little description of, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. What's the best route to get there? And then obviously, everyone's welcome to email me directly at jrogers@sensoryinc.com, and happy to help out.
Thanks to everyone who's taken the time, either live or later on, to learn more about SensoryCloud.AI, learn more about Todd and the team with Sensory. We appreciate it. As promised, the promo code for Project Voice 2022, big surprise, is Sensory, SENSORY. That can be used in either registration portal for the event to take half off until those passes are gone. I'm Bradley Metrock, CEO of Project Voice. Todd, congratulations to you and the team. Job well done. Anu will get you the audio and video so you can distribute that. Thank everybody very much.
Thank you, Bradley, and thanks to all of you for attending.
Thanks, all.
Thanks to the Sensory team. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Take care, y'all. See you.
Everyone.